We had a lot of stuff go on since our last show, Mike, last week. Some Game 7s in hockey and basketball, but probably the NFL draft, probably with our show from last week. You guys probably have analyzed, I'm sure, broke us down, see how we did. And it was kind of scary, but I was looking online today at the Vikings, how they graded out. I looked at about 6 different sites, and they had everything from an A to a C minus, which I don't know if I can understand how a team can be graded that far apart. I mean, that's like reading an essay for an English teacher and one person giving it an A and another person giving it a C minus. It just doesn't seem possible, but that's what it has. And we talked that we thought the Vikings did well, both of us.
Yeah, and I'd always be the one that had the English teacher that handed out the C minuses. I'll tell you that too. Yeah, the Vikings I thought did very well, and like I mentioned earlier, I think whoever handed out those C minuses obviously. Did not like the Laquan Treadwell draft.
They did not.
And the reason they might not like him is the old feared words possession receiver, which usually means you're not real fast and you can't create separation off the ball. And we shall see. I mean, I think it was a good pick. People are comparing him to Michael Irvin and Des Bryant. That's pretty good comparisons. And I thought the Vikings did exceptionally well in the later rounds as well, especially that second round pick with that Alexander.
That's an interesting pick there. I didn't know if I was going to expect him to go safety or corner there, but it was interesting. I was listening to K-Fan while that pick was going on. I actually wasn't watching it on TV. I was listening on the radio at the time. And right before they drafted this kid, they were talking about the whole crew there was talking about ranking the cornerbacks for the Vikings in order from 1 to wherever. And of course, they basically went after Rhodes saying, well, he's there only by default. He's not a number 1 guy. And I'm kind of like, wait a minute. I don't see that. I thought he played extraordinarily well. And then they said Munnerlyn and Newman, right? Yeah, yep. Newman are 2A and 2B. And then Trey Waynes is like, well, he's off the charts. It was almost like they had written him off as being a cornerback for this team. Like 1 year, and he didn't do the things that he's gone. That this kid that they just drafted from Clemson is going to be ahead of him on the depth chart when they start, which seems ridiculous to me.
That a Trey Waynes?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Well, Rhodes just got an option, his 5th-year option today, and as did Sharif Floyd and. The one who didn't is Cordero Patterson. Did not get tendered. He will be a free agent at the end of this year. And which brings in your guy, the guy from Germany, wide receiver. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's a promotional pick. You know, a 6th-round pick. You hate to say that you waste a draft pick, but to me, it's completely that. You want to get a team from Europe. You want to get people from Europe interested in your team, so you draft the first ever player from Germany. The thing is, if he comes out and he's got skills and he can help this team, it's a bonus. Everybody can say, well, you don't want to waste any of those draft picks. This is a big guy. It'll be interesting to see. They say he's very athletic, but even he admitted, as I was watching SportsCenter yesterday morning, he admitted the league he plays in is semi-pro at best. So just a couple of Americans on each side of the ball. So this is going out there a little bit, but it's a human interest story. It's going to get the Vikings name out there. It has some of that to it, I think. But again, I agree. Drafting another tackle, another offensive lineman that they talked. One I saw one place said that he could move to guard. I thought that was interesting. So Zimmer went defense. He went for the receiver that we need. He bolstered the offensive line. The only way that they could have, if they'd have gotten Jack out of UCLA, if they somehow could have pulled that off, that'd have been the coup of the draft, I think.
Yeah, the guy you're talking, Willie Beavers out of I believe Central Michigan or Western Michigan, one of those Michigan schools, projected in some reading Brandon Molesky, Tennessee ranked him. Some people ranked him 222nd out of 223 offensive tackle.
Wow.
In FBS football. I mean, I don't know who the publicist was on that. Willie Beavers was actually projected as a possible 2nd-round pick. So I like the pick. Beavers should be good. And a guy from Germany, what's a Boringer? 6'4", about 220, and ran a 4.35. Tested out with some remarkable times and athletic ability. So he is an athlete. Doesn't always mean you're going to be a football player. Ask Ronaldo Nehemiah back years ago with the San Francisco 49ers and go back a few years. But interesting, fun draft. And
What did you think of the Tunsil situation? Did it, I mean,
PR junk nightmare. I mean, I thought who brought it out great was this Winston. He's an offensive lineman with, I can't remember the team he plays with, and he just ripped into the commissioner.
Okay.
Who's the commissioner? Goodell?
Goodell, yeah.
And he basically said this thing should have never reached the TV, should have never got brought up as much as it did, and I kind of agree with that. Yes, they could have mentioned, he's dropping because of some stuff that's out, but why put a picture of him just sitting there on TV with a mask on his face? And I didn't know people put masks on their face for those things. And, I was just kind of watching it and saying, well, it looks like he's into something else other than marijuana, and the whole thing I thought was just a PR nightmare. And Goodell even came out and said, "Oh, it was good for our draft." I'm going.
Well, it got people.
Really?
It got people watching, but I think he could have picked a better word than excited. Makes the draft exciting. He could have found a better word for it. Interesting, whatever, dramatic, whatever. Not exciting. That was the wrong word. I think he'd like to take that word back. But
shame on him.
Any final thoughts on the draft?
Well, I got 4 picks correct out of my 31.
Okay, but you got to admit that the Tunsil thing kind of, after he dropped out of number 3, you kind of had to agree that kind of messed things up because.
Well, then I said, doggone domino effect. It's like you miss one, and then good luck catching up. And I did get Floyd going to Chicago, right? As did Logan. We both got the big.
Thank you, Logan. Nice job last week.
Taylor Decker going to Detroit. We got that one right. Paxton Lynch going to the Broncos. Didn't have the trade, but I did have the team, and there was one more, Ryan Kelly, the center that's going to the Indianapolis Colts. So those are my 4 I got right, and I got 27 wrong. What's the percentage on that, Spike Woods? 4 out of 31.
Not good.
17.
Yeah, that's close enough. We'll take that.
About the same chance I got to win it at 9.52.
Did the Cowboys reach for Ezekiel Elliott at 4?
Yes, but they're, you said it before. I mean, pre-draft, you were saying Jerry Jones likes to make a splash and he made 2 big splashes. You get Jalen Smith, the linebacker out of Notre Dame, who's not even going to play next year. His knee is just blown away and shredded, and then Ezekiel Elliott. I like saying the name, but I don't know if it's worth a number 4 overall. And they had DeMarco Murray.
First one in 13
DeMarco
shows.
Murray 2 years ago. And they got rid of him, and then now they draft a running back 4th overall. So what do they value a running back? Obviously, they're inconsistent with that.
There was some craziness there, but definitely kept us on our toes. What else you got?
Should we mention the other Mackenzie Alexander, the second-round pick for the Vikings, cornerback? Willie Beavers went in the 4th round.
I like how they mentioned about this Clemson kid, the cornerback drafted in the 2nd round, that they said that he had no interceptions in his entire career.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, is that the only grade that a corner, is that the only grade how many interceptions you get? And they said, I think they put out the stat, I heard that of the 121 passes thrown at him or some number like that, this past season only like 31 of them were completed. Mm-hmm. I thought that was, to me, that says it all right there. And he might be a little bit small, but by gosh, he seems to get the job done.
Well, it's like the high-end, what do they call them, shutdown quarters in the NFL, Peterson and Sherman, and they don't get a lot of interceptions, and the reason being is they don't get thrown at a lot. Yeah, they don't throw the ball on their side of the field, so if that happens, you're not going to have the I guess, statistics that people want to see, and statistics to me are...
wins and losses? Just win, baby. Where are you, Al Davis?
Interesting pick. I love the 5th pick, Kentrell Brothers, the linebacker out of Missouri. Actually led NCAA football in tackles last year. Not a big guy, about 6 foot.
Wow. That's
230, 235.
I'm going to say, is he going to get judged? Did he get dropped down that far? Just because of his size, right?
The guy's a football player. And Mel Kiper loved him, and if Mel Kiper said he's good, right?
Well, Mel's done this for a long time. He might drive you crazy with his wind tunnel tested hairdo, but he probably knows his stuff.
And then the last round, 7th round, they got a guy by the name of Jaron Kearse. Okay, he's also a Clemson safety. He's teammates with Mackenzie Alexander, so they know each other.
Thought that was an interesting pick.
And he's also Javon Kearse's nephew. Did you remember Javon?
I do, and that means he's fairly athletic.
Well, he has to be good then, right?
It's got to be good. It's got to be good. Yeah.
Any surprises other than Ezekiel in that first round?
Not really, not in my mind. I was interested, as we talked about last week. Cleveland went from 2 to 8 with a bunch of picks, and then dropped down to 15. It just seems like, I don't know. They're Cleveland and Dallas. They just don't seem to get it. Not that they say that Cleveland did probably add some stuff, but
Corey Coleman at 15, yeah, that was kind of a reach, I thought. I don't think he was a top receiver. Doxson and Laquan Treadwell, they actually had ranked higher than him. Cleveland jumped back a few spots, did pick 14 draft picks on the weekend, which is by far more than anybody else. And Eli Apple, number 10, going to the Giants, I thought was a huge reach. I didn't think he was even a top 5 cornerback. I thought Mackenzie Alexander ranked out higher than him. Mackenzie, we got in the second round. Eli Apple, I think the idea of Eli Apple playing in the Big Apple was the big marketing thing there, and I didn't like that pick very much.
it's all about money.
And Keanu Neal, safety, Atlanta. Atlanta needed some pass rushers, and there's a few of them out there. Lawson was out there, and then Noah Spence, 2 good pass rushers, and then you go a safety who was projected to be a second, third rounder. So, again, they know a lot more than I do, but, I read a lot of stuff. Doesn't mean what I'm reading is correct. So, until I become a player scout or development guy with the NFL, I guess we got to take their word for it.
We'll take their word. Somebody said, I think it was Herm Edwards yesterday morning on SportsCenter, said, we won't know for 3 years, so why are we here grading everybody out? I agree. We'll know in 3 years whether everybody screwed up or didn't screw up, right?
Exactly. And believe it or not, I'd probably have 25 more minutes of stuff. And I'm not going to bring it up because it's really irrelevant. And I think we talked about the draft enough. Let's move on.
Let's move on. You want to talk hockey? You want to talk Stanley Cup?
Let's talk a little Lefty Current.
What about Lefty Curran? What?
Wally just turned, I believe, 67 years old. I wanted to wish Lefty a happy birthday. Am I correct on the age?
No. He just turned 72.
I'm giving him 5 years.
50,
he looks like he's
54 plus
He looks
18.
like he's actually about 55. He looks good, and a good friend of his, Spike Woods, is here tonight. Thanks for coming, Spike. And you got to love Lefty Curran. He's a good man and a lot of fun.
Happy birthday, Lefty. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
So NHL Game 7s over the week. Chicago loses to St. Louis. What else happened? Game 7. Oh, Anaheim and Nashville. I'm sure you watched probably the last second, had a DVD'd or whatever the heck you do.
TiVo'd.
TiVo'd, okay? DVR'd, whatever, so you're all set up. So give me your reflections of the past week.
Well, sitting up till 2, 3 in the morning, watching the tape of the games, of all 4 games that happened, the finals. Anaheim really surprised me. They fired their coach right out. Couldn't have been 10 minutes after the game, and they fired Bruce Boudreau.
Wild can't bring him in. No, good. Okay, let's move on from that because they can't bring him in.
Getzlaff's, Corey Perry has to be very disappointing. They have NHL Stanley Cup pedigree. They should have gone further.
Who's a bigger disappointment, the Wild or Anaheim?
Oh, Anaheim. Okay. The Wild are lucky to be in that thing, don't you think?
Well, everybody, go back to the start of the season, expectations made of these two teams. Anaheim started so poorly and then made a big run, so their expectations were high at the end, but maybe at the beginning of the year were the Wild maybe in Anaheim in the same place, at least expectations-wise. I don't know, kind of crazy. Of course, we've had some good hockey in the first few first few games of the second round of the semifinals in the conference. Washington and Pittsburgh has been, as advertised, awesome.
Pittsburgh looks good.
Really,
they should have won both games.
Well, and the scary part, except for TJ Oshie, of course, the Minnesota boy there. But talk about, I guess the thing is, somebody mentioned that this should probably be the Stanley Cup final because these might be right now the 2 best teams in the entire NHL.
That very well could be. I wouldn't tell St. Louis or Dallas that. That's a whole different game when you head out west and play the big boys who like to bang the bodies around over in the east. They don't hit as much, although Olimata might contradict that statement because he's out, could be for a while, as is Brooks Orpik, who decided to give the young Finnish player an elbow to the head, and Brooks Orpik has to sit out 3. But I like to bring that stuff up once in a while because there's a lot of the thugs out there that get away with that, and they caught this one, and he got at least 3, which is a lot for playoffs.
It is a lot of games.
But I like Pittsburgh. They're looking good.
Okay, how about the Islanders and Tampa Bay 1-1, correct?
It's kind of like it's a series that
Nobody's watching.
really is anybody.
Hey, is it because
really
of
care?
the team from Florida, or is it because the Islanders have been so irrelevant for so many
I
years?
think both teams are irrelevant.
Okay.
I mean, you don't have Stamkos playing in Tampa. You got the Islanders, who got a bunch of Minnesota kids. My buddy Neil Shee represents probably 4 or 5 players on that team, so I guess I have some vested interest in them just because of that. But I like Opolso coming to the Wild next year. He is a free agent, so I guess the Isles do intrigue me a little bit, but you have to sit there and watch Clutterbuck go run around all over the place and try to hit guys in the head, and he's getting away with it so far.
How about the San Jose, Nashville, San Jose up 2-rip as the time we tape this?
Yeah.
They're going 7 games with Anaheim. Does that take Nashville maybe a little starch out of them, having to go that long, playing 7 games, and now have to jump right back into the series with the Sharks?
You know what? I've watched both those games.
And?
Nashville was the better team in both of them.
Really?
They should have walked out of there. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If you get goaltending and you take advantage of your chances like San Jose has, they're up 2-0. Doesn't matter if Nashville has been the better team.
So I made a change of rooms on Friday night during Game 1. It's 3-1.
You got kicked out of here.
Well, it's a long story. We'll talk about that at maybe at a further date. Anyway, it's 3-1. They closed it to 3-2. Nashville does, and then off the face-off, they didn't put their goaltender back in. Is this true? On Friday night, I'm asking because that's what I was told, and that seemed crazy to me.
Yeah, they're pulling goalies quite early.
But I mean, this was on the face-off. No goaltender in at all. Rene was out. And there was like a minute left or a minute and a half left.
Yeah.
Why didn't they?
You're down 2. Why not?
But they had cut it to 3-2, right? I'm asking.
No, it would not. No, the goalie would have been back in at 3-2.
Okay.
You would have heard about it being at 3-1, and then they pulled.
But I heard at 3-2 after they scored the goal to get within 1. They didn't have the goalie in.
No, they
That's
had
wrong.
the goalie in.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say somebody
Ever
lost
giving
their
you that
mind.
little piece of information
Led me astray.
maybe ask somebody else next
They led me astray. What else? What do we got? Have we got predictions for the 4 series? You want to make predictions on the series? You got Lightning and the
I'm so
Islanders.
sick of being wrong.
Well, this is part of why people watch. They want to see us screw up.
Oh,
like
I
it.
do. I mean,
Lightning Islanders.
anybody got a dartboard? Do you guys got a dartboard in here?
You're taking the Islanders.
What's the
right?
series? 1-1. I gotta go my Lightning. Tyler Johnson and the boys. Sorry, Neil.
Okay. Caps and Penguins. Going to go 7.
I'm going Penguins in 7.
Penguins
I
in
love
7.
how they're playing. It does scare me a bit that Game 7 will be in D.C., but I still like the Penguins the way they're playing.
Stars and the Blues. 1-1.
I like the Blues.
Got to take the
Just
Blues.
too big, strong, physical. Dallas is already getting us scared.
I don't get to watch as much as you do, but if you got to watch Bax's game-winning goal last night or yesterday afternoon, whatever it was, he's on the power plays in front of the goaltender. He jumps in the air. The puck bounces off the goaltender. He lands, and somehow at the same time he swipes the puck into the back of the net. Mm-hmm. It was awesome. I'm like, wow, that is talent. Predators and the Sharks. Sharks up 2-0.
Sharks up 2-0 has to be a big advantage, but like I said, Nashville's outplayed them both games. I expect Nashville to win their next 2 in Nashville, and I think Nashville's going to come back in that series. They got to win 4 or 5?
4 or 5. It'll be tough.
It'll be tough, but I like how they're playing. I think they're a better team.
They got a goaltender that can do it. We know when he gets hot, he can get hot. You want to talk NBA? I know how you hate it.
Why don't you take over?
Take over.
Anybody here? Anybody know anything about NBA? I'll get off here.
San Antonio, Portland. San Antonio wins by how much was it? 32 the other night, biggest playoff win for them in playoff history, I think they said. So San Antonio's going to take care of Portland. Golden State taking on number 5 Portland. Portland, God bless their heart, they took down the Clippers, who lost their 2 best players. But they had to go 6 games, come right in, and even though Golden State doesn't have Steph Curry, they don't stand a chance. Go to the other side, Cleveland and Atlanta in the East again. God bless you, Atlanta, but I don't think you're.
Have they played any yet?
They have not
First
played
game
again.
tonight.
First game is tonight
Okay,
on Monday.
We're
here.
taping this on Monday, by the way.
So Cleveland, maybe Atlanta might take one at home. That series goes 5
Did
games.
Minnesota sweep Atlanta this year?
You might be right on that.
I'm
I played
pretty
2
right.
games, one
It's the only thing I've been
home
right
and
on
away.
all evening. Yeah.
And then
the last one?
Toronto, I have to say, I didn't even realize they were the number 2 seed. They won their division. They were the number 2 seed. They take on Miami. Miami just coming out of a 7-game series. They might be a little tired, but so did Toronto come out of a 7-game series. So it'll be interesting to see how things match up there. I give Miami the edge just because they've been there before.
Who's the favorite? Toronto.
Toronto's the 2 seed. Miami's the 3. So that's what I see there. And
Who do you see in the finals?
Cleveland and Golden State. Nobody in the East can match up with LeBron to slow him down. And as much as my good friend Derek Doughty would love to see Golden State lose in the West, San Antonio's got a chance against them. But if they get Steph Curry back healthy, I think Golden State has shown in the past few games without Steph, Draymond Green and Klay Thompson have showed up and are playing great basketball. Golden State wins it all. Nobody can touch them.
Here's why, I kind of joke around why I don't want to talk NBA. I could have told you back in September that Cleveland and Golden State were going to be in the finals.
I probably would agree with you. Yeah.
So why
play 82
games plus another 40 in the playoffs? Let's just have those 2 teams meet for 7 games and save a lot of people's money.
I think you go spend it at hockey games.
And, that's why I have a hard time with the NBA, because everything is the same every year, and you never see surprises. Like NFL, you can go from, like Dallas, who's a 4th worst team in football, they're talking a playoff team this year. That's why NFL does it right, and the NBA still hasn't figured it out. But how about Thibodeau as a hire for the Wolves?
I think it's a good hire. They might have overspent slightly at $40 million, but I think they got their man. I think they got the right guy. I'm hoping that I feel like Chicago kind of, they gave him his chance, but they didn't win their championship, so they freaked out and fired him and whatever else. I think this is going to be a good fit as long as Glenn Taylor, I know he's not doing well physically, health-wise. When the sale of the team comes down or whoever takes over this team, I just fear that if we get somebody in here who is fire happy and we need to win now. You look at these teams in the NBA, you look at Steph Curry, wins his first championship last year in his 6th season, I think, if I did the numbers right. Michael Jordan didn't win until his 8th season. Mm-hmm. Teams have to be way more patient in this. I got to win now. We have to win. We can't build. Type of mentality drives me crazy, and I think the Timberwolves need to be patient. Get to 40 wins next year, 38 to 40 wins next year, get to 45 to 50 the following year, and by 2019, let's start thinking about we have a chance to win an NBA championship. Just stay the course. Keep doing what we're doing. Don't start firing people and everything else. That's ludicrous.
Yeah, they have the players. I mean, Cat, Karl Anthony Towns, you got Wiggins, you got Muhammad, you got Levine. So the pieces are there. It's whether or not in 3 years we can keep them all. And they don't want to jump ship and head out to LA, and
therein lies the problem. And of course, they're going to get a pick that's going to be in the top 10 again this time. I'm not sure. Of course, it doesn't.
The kid from Oklahoma, the big shooting guard. What's his name?
Buddy Hield.
Buddy Hield. Yeah, he went like 1 for 9 in that.
And the thing about that is with the NBA, with the draft lottery, the Timberwolves could get the number 1 pick again. I mean, that's seriously the way things could end up. So you got to kind of wait to see how things. I see the NHL had their lottery the other day, kind of I never even saw it coming. All of a sudden it comes across the ticker. Toronto's got the number 1 pick. I'm like, well, yeah, they should get the number 1 pick. They were the worst team. So,
However,
and
I'll just tell you how sad my life really is. I watched that.
You did?
Yeah.
When was it on?
Like right before 7 o'clock Saturday night.
It was on.
Because they had a game Saturday night. I think it was Pittsburgh, Washington playing at 7
o'clock.
or whatever.
And
doesn't matter. But I sat there from 6:30 to 7 listening to them analyze ping pong balls and the odds of each team getting the number 1 draft pick.
Was your wife watching with you?
No,
Or did
she
know?
just always shakes her head at me. You sat there and watched NFL draft for 3 days of your life. You'll never get those days back. You're not going to get back your ping pong day left over from the NHL. And 20% chance Toronto had of getting that first pick.
1 in 5.
They got it. Winnipeg moved from number 6 to number 2.
Okay.
Edmonton did not get the first pick this year. And another team moved up. I believe it was Columbus moved from 4 or 5 to 3. So Winnipeg's going to get that Laney from Finland, who's right now, him and Austin Matthews are 1 and 1A. So both Winnipeg and Toronto are getting difference makers coming into their camp, and they both should be on rosters next year. So how do we get back into the NHL? See how we just got rid of the NBA and we moved right
big
back.
circle. A couple of shout-outs here. I want to the Rainy River softball team. Ended up taking second place in the division during the regular season. They took second place over the weekend. Now they head into the Region 13B tournament with a chance to make the national tournament. There's 4 teams in that tournament. They go in as the number 2 seed, and the team that they haven't been able to get over the hump on is Central Lakes. And they've got.
Do they have to beat them to go on?
They're going to have to beat Central Lakes, yes, to move on to get by them. And the games are in Brainerd, so that obviously gives Central Lakes a little bit of an edge there. So those games go off on Friday and Saturday. And I also want to give a shout out to the Rainy River baseball team, who have improved to 7-1 in the Northern Division. They've got 1 series left, 2 games coming up against Itasca at home on Saturday. Have a chance, I believe, if they get to 9-1, to be the Northern Division champs, which would be the first baseball division championship ever. So good luck to those guys coming up this weekend.
Yeah.
Also want to give a shout out. Wore the Gopher hat tonight. The Gopher baseball team in first place in the Big Ten. Not too shabby. They've been ranked in the top 25. So let's make a run to Omaha. So Tim has an excuse to have to go to Omaha.
Didn't they,
in June.
not to rain on your parade there,
Yeah.
Gopher boy, but didn't they just get beat by North Dakota State?
They
last week?
did get beat by the Bison. Where's your sweatshirt to?
Well, I mean, if I had a shirt for every win the Bison
I'm
had,
going to give them an excuse for the Gophers. Okay, those midweek games against those wannabes in the Summit League and everybody else, they play all their third stringers in those games and bring out the pitchers. And North Dakota State probably played all their starters so that they could look like they beat the Gophers again. So that that's what they hang their hat on.
Let me get this straight. You're calling North Dakota State wannabes now.
Wannabes.
Really? See,
Wannabes
I got
in
a lot,
baseball. I didn't
a
say
lot of
football.
family who come up all summer long.
I can bring them on.
You live in my
My
old house,
daughter
and I
went
know
to
how to
North
get
Dakota
in my old house. There's a lot of back ways into that house, and boy, you don't want to meet my family members over the NDSU stuff.
Wannabes. Even South Dakota State.
What
can beat
about
North-
UMD? Are they wannabes?
Even North Dakota State North Dakota State will get beat by South Dakota State, by the way, where my nephew plays. God bless him. And the
What
Gopher
else?
softball team in second place in the Big Ten, 1 game right behind Michigan as we come down the stretch. They also are ranked in the top 25. Had a chance to watch them play Maryland, and they can hit the ball all over the place. So the Gophers are doing well. Rainy River is doing very well. The baseball, of course, the softball and baseball teams home this week. If you get a chance to watch this show before Wednesday, Thursday, get out and support the teams. Little Fork Big Falls versus the Broncos in softball at home on Wednesday. I'm looking forward to that, although I saw a forecast today that said we might have some rain on Wednesday. That's not good. I don't like that. I'm going to have to find someplace dry to do my broadcasting gig for that, but it should be a very good game. Little Fork, very, very good team. Anna Imhoff, the one pitching for them, and Carly Swenson, good job there. The Broncos, 2 young pitchers in Marissa Carey and Mariah Leahy. They are going to come into that game, if I remember right, the Broncos are going to come in 7-1, and I think Little Fork right around that record as well. So it's going to be a great matchup coming up on Wednesday. And the track teams, girls are doing outstandingly. I think they've won 6 meets in a row. So they're doing well. The boys have won a couple meets as well. So they're performing well. And the golf teams, the Bronco golf teams, I don't know if you've been following along on Facebook, but the girls team is doing very, very well. Kenzie Wenberg, I'll give her a shout out right here. She hasn't lost a meet yet this year that she's been in. The Broncos haven't lost a meet that the girls team has been in yet, and so that stands good. The Broncos won the boys golf team won their home meet on Thursday, and they won their meet that took place today down at the Wilderness, and so they are performing very well, and I know they didn't have a couple of their top 6 guys there, so good sign for them, and hopefully they can get things rolling. Did I forget anybody locally?
Well, Maggie Roeder, she's playing well too. The little Wenberg, they're like best buddies, and Maggie Roeder does a really nice job. She's had a hard time breaking the 50s here just a year or two ago, and now she looks like she's a steady Eddie in the 40s, and that's what you got to do.
You got to have those scores in the 40s.
And how'd the Gopher basketball and football and hockey teams do?
The football team, I think, went to a bowl game.
Oh, that's right. Which one do they go to?
The Gopher hockey team, I could care less about.
Which bowl?
If this is a hockey
the Rainier
camp,
Roost Sugar Bowl. I mean,
a bowl
really?
game is a bowl game. They just chalk them up. That's all you do.
Gopher hockey team.
Gopher basketball, I think,
Gopher
went
basketball won like 3 games.
2 and 16. Hey, I'm just putting my shout
You're
out
here putting that the college up here on a pedestal.
No. I
Let's
said
not forget what
I said their
happened in
baseball team and softball team were doing well. I didn't mention that about their athletic director and the president and.
But the wannabes.
The wannabes.
That hurt.
Who?
Yeah. And what else? Any questions from the audience tonight?
Yeah, we got to have a
questions?
Q&A.
Any yeah, Spike.
I don't want to ask stupid questions, but and I got here a little late. But overall, what would you say the Vikings draft was compared to other teams? Did they do better as well or not as well?
I think the Vikings did better than the other teams. I think they addressed a lot of their concerns. I think they supported some of the spots that we might think are a little weak, a little loose. I think the Vikings did a great job. They should be graded in above the top third of the 32 teams in the league. I don't think that's a stretch on what I think. Mike?
I graded them out a high B, B plus, A minus. I got them as the 4th best draft in the whole NFL, behind Jacksonville, Cleveland, and Baltimore.
Okay, and then one other follow-up. Well, what's the deal with drafting this German guy? Was that a joke, or do they see him as
I said earlier, I think it's a promotional thing to try to get fans in Europe, fans in Germany to follow along with that team, and if it works out that he can make plays, that's all the better.
Well, what do you think? Will he make plays?
No, I think even what I saw on SportsCenter, I think he's glad he made it. He gets to play with his favoriteest player in the whole world, Adrian Peterson. But I think in the end, when they make their final cuts, he will be one of the cuts.
He intrigues me. 6'4", fast, big, has something to prove. I like those guys.
And maybe he could be a special teams player. Those are spots. If you're willing to run down on kickoffs and kick returns and do the dirty work, Thielen from Detroit Lakes, he's one of those kids. He's working for his paycheck a lot of times. He's taking some hard hits, and this kid could be that. And like I said, if he's got 6'4", and you said runs 4.35, I think you said. That speed kills, as they say, and it's true in the NFL. So I just like I said, even he admitted, I think, that he was a little shocked that he had done so. So.
Good questions, though, Spike Woods.
Thank you,
You're a smart gentleman.
Well,
Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here.
Well, I'm glad to be here.
What else? Any other?
All-time dude. And I've never seen a person who can hit the golf ball better than you.
Wow! Wow! Yeah.
Nice.
You're right, Spike. Any other questions? Any other questions? Nothing tonight, Matt? Paul, come on. You always got a good question for us.
Last week we didn't get in the old Looney's Brew that were here.
Oh,
we want to make
indeed.
sure that we get in here. They are so welcoming here, and we certainly appreciate them allowing us to do this. I will say, if you're watching the show, I see Leona has her hands up. But I'm going to
20
say
people have their hands up. But
I'm going to say this: we are taping next week's show on Saturday night at 6 o'clock right here at Looney's. So come on down. We're going to have a special guest,
Bjorn Johnson,
and I don't know exactly. What we're going to...
Jiu-jitsu, karate, all kinds of double WWE wrestling. So we're going out there in a whole different land and universe, and should be interesting, should be fun. Question from Leon.
Where are you taking your wives for Mother's Day?
Well, considering my wife is not my mother, nowhere. No, I take that back. Good question. Wow. Where do you think I should take her?
While you're thinking about your answer, I'm taking my wife to Hibbing for my nephew's first communion, and I also get to see my mother at the same time. So it's a dual whammy. It's a good thing.
She outshined me again right there. didn't
Well,
she?
see, I got the plans
throw
all
that
laid
out
out.
there.
I got lucky.
I am my daughter Sophie's coming home from the city, so Amanda and Sophie and Lexi and Burke. I'm sure we'll plan something, and of course my lovely wife Diana will be heavily involved in that. She's the sweetest person in the world. So Diana, sorry.
Covered there.
And I know, thank you. Where's Paul and Matt taking you?
That's a good question.
Hey! To Looney's Brew!
Surprise,
I did stop here on Saturday. I talked to the one baseball guy you said you were going to talk to get on here.
Mr. Punch a Card?
Punch a card, and we sat and talked a little bit at up at the can I say the bar?
Sure.
That's where we're at, and we just talked a lot. And seems like an interesting guy, so he might be a good guest.
He's a rugby guy. I don't know if you guys got into the rugby word, but if we want to talk rugby someday, but Punchy is our guy, and you'll notice that we did not bring up the Minnesota Twins in this entire show till this second,
and we're not going to
because wow, is it pathetic?
Anyways,
oh my!
Any other questions? Nothing.
Well, can I ask you one thing? This is completely off the track.
Sure.
But I'm no soccer fan.
Yeah, I know that.
But I'm watching this thing on TV say there was a team in the top league in Europe that was ranked at 5,000 to 1 not to win the league title.
And they just
it was just announced before I came over here that they won the league title.
and I don't know how they say it, if it's Leicester City, Leicester.
Well, they pronounce it Leicester, but
Leicester?
It's
Okay.
spelled a different way.
Yeah,
Anyway,
5,000 to 1.
If you bet $10 on them, you'd collect $50,000.
Not too bad.
Would that be similar to you being in the British Open and I putting like 10 rubles on you? And
My odds would have been even better than 5.
I think they would have been. Your odds of
So there you go.
breaking 100 would have been 50-50. But I think that's our show tonight. I don't have anything else, and thought we'd keep it to a half hour.